happy they won and everything, but were you thinking? Of course I was. Okay, me too. Let's go! Why not? The Toronto Maple Leafs! I guess my brand is a yell and scream. I don't script these. Are the Leafs alright? So what you get is from the heart. Welcome to LFR. Victory, puppies! What was it for you, boy? Was it the 6th goal or the 7th goal? For me, it was the final horn. The Leafs pull off the impossible and hold on to a 4-goal lead. Leafs win 7-3 over the Ottawa Senators, the way it should be. So, Leafs Nation not feeling so good heading into this one. 3 games set against the Ottawa Senators, the first place team against the last place team, except the last place team always seems to give the first place team fits. First game, well, we all know what happened. The Leafs had a 5-1 lead. And then all of a sudden they lost. The second game, the Leafs won, which is the entire purpose of playing a game, but they didn't win in the way that people wanted, so it was bad. Tavares struggling, Nylander struggling, Nylander even on the cover of the Toronto Sun. Why wasn't Tavares there? He's the captain. Well, you can't make IKEA jokes about him. I'd watch that show, just John Tavares calmly building IKEA furniture.
Hey guys, welcome back to Building IKEA Furniture with JT. Last week we built the Docksta table. This week it's going to be the Calyx shelving units. Shelves are good for holding things. So the first thing you're going to need is your tools. And the number one tool you need for these is a good attitude.
That took an absolutely outrageous amount of takes. I don't even remember where I was. Oh yeah, so they had the one thing where they choked and then they had a win, but it wasn't a very good win. And then heading into this game, we find out Zach Hyman is day-to-day and he's going to be out of the lineup. Nick Petan is coming in. Not that we don't like Nick Petan coming in, but we don't want Zach Hyman going out. And then we find out Zach Bogosian, he needs a little bit of maintenance too. Mikko Lehtinen coming in the lineup. And we like Mikko Lehtinen joining the lineup, but we don't like Zach Bogosian leaving it. Then we find out Michael Hutchinson is the starter and everyone goes, "Hing!" But that's okay, we understand because Freddie needs rest, and then Sheldon Keefe's let slip that Freddie Anderson is actually dealing with some things too, and so it's Michael Hutchinson starting and Joseph Wool, who you are about to Google, as the backup. I'm a little frightened. And then, just before game time, and this should tell you exactly how good of a player this player is, the Sens announced Thomas Chabot will not be playing, and I went, the Leafs are going to squish them like a bug. Injuries suck, even if they're only for one game, and every team is worse when one of their best players gets injured, of course. But the Sens without Thomas Chabot, you cannot even drop a point to that team. So, the game starts, and it's a pretty decent start. They're able to draw a penalty, specifically Austin Matthews on Eric Brandstrom. The power play doesn't lead to anything, but it's a good start. Then, Christian Wolanin trips Pierre Engvall, and the Leafs head back to the power play, and stuff happens. Matthews with the puck, but he's being shadowed by Chris Tierney, gives it to Morgan Riley, back to Matthews. Now, I don't know the Sens' specific systems, but Tierney seems to switch off of Matthews, expecting Zaitsev to go up and challenge. By the time he does, Austin Matthews has this much time and space, and you're about to have a bad time. Matthews puts the puck through Marcus Högberg, possibly literally, and it's a 1-0 Leafs lead because Austin Matthews scored again. And I'm not even going to make that big a deal out of that goal because we'll have another one to talk about later. Toward the end of the period, Jake Muzzin at the point with the puck, floats it on, Joe Thornton with the perfect tip. All of a sudden this guy is a goal suck, and all of a sudden the Leafs have a 2-0 lead. And the two beard men are like, I am beard men, you are beard men, we are two big burly beard men. Mitch got an assist too, he is not big burly beard men. Very aggressive. Now up to this point, Michael Hutchinson not terribly busy, but no pucks have gone behind him, which I appreciate. Then Tim Stützle charges in, and he's got a bit of an open lane, and he's got a forward back, and he attacks. It's Travis Boyd, and he gets around him, takes a terrible angle shot, and Michael, my God. No, it's fine. They still have the lead, it's fine. Tim Stützle, I Sens fans watching this, the surefire hallmark that Tim Stützle is a great player is I hate that he's in my division. The team I cheer for's division, I'm not in the division myself. Terrible back, terrible stride, but I will take even league minimum, please. But even though it was good play from Stützle, and sometimes good players find a way to do unexpected things, bud, does that look like a puck that should be stopped. Here's the difference, though. The Leafs don't let those bad feelings from this late goal seep into the next period because Mitch Marner is practically a bully. Mitch Marner going behind the net and passes the puck behind himself to Austin Matthews. Here's how effective that pass was. Matt Murray, where are you going? You're lost. It's Austin. He's good. Like, look at this. He's not even looking. The puck's like in before he even knows where it is. But I think it's better that way, that you don't even see it coming. It's like out in the wild when an eagle eats a fish. That fish isn't thinking it's about to be eaten. It's thinking, that's a sharp-looking cloud. And that sharp-looking cloud got his 16th goal of the season. We'll get to Austin Matthews being a preposterous silly boy in a moment with his 16th goal. Marner's 18th assists. Marner this season in particular has been cranking out passes that are more valuable than goals in some cases. And I think Austin Matthews would tell you that. Because the NHL is an extraordinarily hard league to play in, but I think there are a fair amount of people watching this video right now who could score on a goalie who's not even looking. Thornton with the secondary assist, he's racking up the points. This line is clicking. But Mitch Marner has hit another gear this season, and it's about time people put respect on his name. He's third in league scoring. Even if you're like, oh, whatever, it's Canada. He's third in Canadian scoring. Matthews cannot have the season he's having without Mitch Marner having the season that he's having. I would love to know the record for unassisted goals in a season. I don't actually know the answer to that, but I can tell you Matthews isn't breaking that right now. He's using his teammates, as you should. Who would have thought these guys would be a good duo? I could tell you one guy who didn't think it would work. The guy who coached them for 3.5 years! People don't forget, and I'm not over it, but the Leafs head into the first intermission with a 3-1 lead. And also, I forgot to mention that Matt Murray let in the second two Leafs goals there, the second and third, because Marcus Högberg seemed to tweak, I think, his groin from just stopping a regular Pierre Engvall shot. I feel terrible for Matt Murray. People were ripping him throughout the game, and he was not good at all, but you're coming into a terrible situation there. Even if he was like the starter and got his full warm-up and didn't have to come into the game cold, any night for the Ottawa Senators that does not begin and end with Thomas Chabot is a bad one. And it gets worse to start the second. About a minute and a half into the second, William Nylander retrieves a loose puck, and he actually does a good job of drawing in 2 Sens before handing it off to Ilya Mikheyev. Mikheyev would have a clear shot, except his teammate is in the way, and Morgan Riley says, whatever the opposite of a shot block is, I'm doing it right now. Diving out of the way, Mikheyev shoots it through 2 Ottawa Senators, puts it between Eric Goodbranson's legs, and past Matt Murray. Who does this guy think he is? Austin Matthews? Superman gets on the board, and you know what? People ripping Matt Murray for allowing that one. Oh my god, he allowed a long-distance Ilya Mikheyev wrist shot. Well, yeah, when you put it like that, but that didn't look like a typical Ilya Mikheyev wrist shot. Not only did it have some pepper on it, but it was perfectly placed, and he put it through 2 opponents before the goalie. That's a great goal. I almost said that's a hat pick. It's a force of habit. Not long after, Mitch Marner getting the puck deep in the Ottawa Senators zone, but they're defending him so well. And as Mike Riley realizes, ooh, I have made a terrible mistake. After that one move, and Mitch Marner has a choice between rookie and legendary. He chooses legendary and scores anyway. Look at that little opening. My goodness. Mitch Marner, that is bullying. It is a 5-1 game super early in the second. This could get squirrely fast. Wait, 5-1? It's 5-1. The Leafs are up 5-1! But it's okay. It's okay. That's a 1 in a million fluke. It's not gonna happen again. Connor Brown scores to make it 5-2. No, he's still in the Leafs, right? No, I just wish he was. And oh my god, they're doing it again! Because after the Sens make it 5-2, they're like, hey, we've seen this movie before. We were in it. We were the stars. Break on through. And they started to look good. It was going to their legs. There is too much time left in this game. But super fortunately, killing the momentum, Erik Brannstrom takes his second penalty of the game, this time against Mitchell Marner, and now the Leafs go to the power play. Later on in the power play, first unit can't get it done, but William Nylander in the second unit doing great. They had a couple opportunities where Nylander could have picked up a point. Here he passes it to Jason Spezza. Boy, you can't be much more open than that. Boy, they were really worried about Willie. Spezza shoot, Murray stops it, but there's a rebound. Willie pounces and scores! Right on the doorstep where goal scorers tend to score, because that's where Willie scores. Now, you might write this off as a simple tap-in goal, and it was a goal that was tapped in by William Nylander, but how did he get that tap-in opportunity? Because of a rebound. Well, who shot the puck? Jason Spezza. How did Jason Spezza get the puck? Because William Nylander gave it to him. William Nylander built this whole play. Not all tap-in goals are simple. Some of them are just some assembly required. And thank goodness he scored that goal, because then it was no longer 5-2. And I'm like, I can breathe again as the Leafs go into second intermission. And the Leafs are able to hold the fort for the first half of the third period, but the Sens start pouring it on, and they get a bit of a lucky one. Drake Batherson, side of the net, throws the puck in front, and Hutchinson almost makes an amazing save on his own defenseman, because the puck goes off Mikko Lehtonen's skate and in. Now, you can't blame that on Hutch. That's a bad bounce. I know, make your own luck and everything. No, that that's a bad bounce. But I would love to know teams' in-house statistics, because that's going to show up as a simple goal against Michael Hutchinson, and it's going to ruin his save percentage. And at the end of the day, he allowed 3 goals in this game. It should show on the record that he allowed 3 goals in this game, but in terms of affecting his save percentage, that shouldn't count. Or it should be counted as something else. Kind of in the same way that for skaters, all empty net goals go into the goal category, but there's also a separate category for empty netters. Goalies should get a break with some sort of statistical category that's like, my own team scored against me. But now, Oh, I hate that no lead feels safe. But as the clock starts winding down, you realize the Sens aren't going to do this. They're whaling shots. I mean, they're whaling shots at Michael Hutchinson, but none of them really felt dangerous. They were just kind of shooting from everywhere. The shots were 16-7 for the Sens in the third period of this game. I mean, might as well. They were down pretty big. But what's funny is their closest chances to scoring weren't even registered because they hit the post. Like they were playing Jingle Bells. They hit a lot. And later in the third period, Sheldon Keefe switching up the lines, seemingly just to get guys going. Mitch Marner was playing with John Tavares and Alexander Kerfoot, which I've never seen before. And Matthews was playing with Thornton and Nylander. And it's okay to have Mitch Marner, the Miracle Man, apparently, on your line to help get you going, but you gotta get yourself going a little bit. So John Tavares with the puck hands it off to Mitch Marner and gets skedaddled. Marner to Tavares pretty much at the point, and he just risks it on. Maybe he was just trying to get a shot on that would turn into a rebound that Alexander Kerfoot could clean up in front. Maybe he actually thought, yeah, for sure, this is the spot where it'll go in from. And it turns out he was right. He couldn't have even placed it better. Bar down JT, the captain, on the board. It's 7-3. It's sad, and by sad I mean happy. It's hilarious. Poor John. Like, he's got to get some swagger back, because even after he scored, he's like, okay, thanks. But he just ripped one off the bar and in. I know people were genuinely like, is Matt Murray okay after that goal went in, but whatever, you scored it. They don't ask how, they ask how many and all that. And the Sens get right back to it. They're just peppering shots on Michael Hutchinson. I guess they made it interesting or pumped up his stats or whatever, but Michael Hutchinson stopping 34 of 37 in this game. Not too shabby, just the one kind of stinker. And the Leafs win 7-3. So let's talk about Austin Matthews. He's 4th in league scoring, as in points. He's 1st in league goals, which are goals. 16 goals in 17 games. He's currently on pace to score 51.7. Let's round up to 52 goals this season. What? You mean on an 82 game pace? No, I mean in 56, delete 55 games because he's even missed one. It's wild to think, especially this deep into the season, that the first season Austin Matthews hits 50 could be won with only 56 games. Oh, Steve, he's just on a heater. Well, here's a bigger sample size. This season so far and last combined, that's 87 games for Austin Matthews. He's got 63 goals. Over 82 games, that would be a pace of 59. So if people look at you sideways for saying that Austin Matthews should be involved in the Hart conversation, you can simply tell them to shut the lowest hole in their head because he's unreal. Questions. Actually, before the questions, a stat from Anthony Bruno here. The Leafs are now 40, 18-7 in 65 games under Sheldon Keefe. Yeah, is that good? It feels good. Are you a Nylanderthal? I don't know who came up with it, but I first heard it from Anthony Stewart on Sportsnet. I don't care if you like Nylander or not. That's funny. Well, it depends. What is a Nylanderthal? Because someone who just like hates Willie, like arbitrarily, no matter what. Like what would you call them? Like a Facebook uncle? Like, I don't know. And the antithesis of that would be Nylanderthal, where you just defend him absolutely no matter what. He could look like an actual bag of crap, and you'd be like, I don't know, smells good. If that's the case, then no, I'm not a Nylanderthal. I'm a guy who typically likes him on account of he's typically good. He struggled recently, but he had a good game in this one. I think he's been good the past 2. What kind of question gets on the LFR? I don't know, good ones. Which team do you think is going to show up on Saturday versus Montreal? Monday nights, Wednesday nights, or tonight? Asking to determine how much beers I need to get. How many beers? I'm tired. It's my second LFR of the day. Well, okay, pretend like it's Mondays, and then you'll have more beer. I've been saying that the Leafs have been playing differently without Wayne Simmons in the lineup, and I do believe that to be true. I also believe that they're starting to clean that up. But here's here's the thing. Even though the Sens did give the Leafs some trouble, the Montreal Canadiens are not the Ottawa Senators. You can't even think about the 3 games that you had against the Ottawa Senators. You got to think about the last game you had against Montreal, where they out-hit you something like 45-15. And you got to be a lot more willing to give it back than you were last game. When do you see Alex Galchenyuk getting into the lineup? Yeah, that's pretty good, eh? He's already skating with the team, so that's pretty good, considering it's very difficult to acquire players this year if you're in Canada with all the quarantine and everything. There's no rush. There's really no rush. Alex Galchenyuk, I believe his contract is even buried right now, so he's skating with the Leafs, and beyond just getting his feet underneath him, he's also learning the systems and everything. I had someone ask, like, why Patan over Galchenyuk? Well, Patan knows the systems and Galch doesn't. Give it time! I know you're excited. Keep cool. It's a long season. 56. Like, even a short season's a long season. Isn't it great when Marner does his zoom offensive thing right off the face-off? I'll tell you what I appreciate. Everything about Marner's game right now. It's not just the zoom off the face-off, which is very fun. It's the fact he's controlling the game. They always talk about, like, play drivers. Marner does drive the play, but he's really learning to control it. And it really feels like they've hit another gear with Joe Thornton. Because for me, the big issue worrying about Thornton on that line is he's not going to be able to keep up. He actually looks pretty quick. And you know I love me some Zach Hyman, but Joe Thornton has just been there. There is actual footage of him scoring at Maple Leaf Garden. It's a supermarket. So you take that legendarily creative player from the generation previous, and then you take Mitch Marner, who is the new wave, also legendarily creative, and then you have Matthews in the middle, who's just a laser beam. It's really allowing Mitch to be Mitch, but the fact of the matter is whoever has been on that top line has succeeded because Mitch Marner is controlling everything. It's great. So, folks, that is it for a very rare double LFR day. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Your first place Toronto Maple Leafs will be back on the ice on Saturday. I'm going to say it till it's not a thing. Your first place Toronto Maple Leafs. First place! That's that!
Hi guys, welcome back to Building IKEA Furniture with John Tavares.
This is my job.
Last week we built a Docksta table and also a Poang armchair. And so the first thing you're going to need is your tools. And the number one tool you need for these is a good attitude.